Do you think if Jook wouldn't have been killed, they would have tried to charge him too?
They were definitely actively trying to charge Big Jook when he was killed. Yes, they were.
Shit, I don't know. It's just so hard for me to imagine pleading guilty for something that I didn't do.
So that was one of my biggest fears and one of the main reasons why I decided to sign for the 10 years.
Yo Dolph's alleged killer, Hernandez Govan, beat the case and walked out of court with a not guilty verdict. But instead of disappearing into the shadows, he's been wilding out like he's chasing fame.
Do you think if Jook wouldn't have been killed, they would have tried to charge him too?
They were definitely actively trying to charge Big Jook when he was killed. Yes, they were. They just wanted it on a higher scale.
Interviews, live streams, threats, blog appearances. The man is everywhere. He got his freedom handed back to him, but instead of protecting it, he's talking himself right back into danger. And half the time, the way he runs his mouth, it sounds like he's basically putting himself on trial all over again. Take his appearance on No Jumper, for example. He didn't just mention Young Dolph.
What do you mean by that?
Federal.
Oh, word. That's what you...
Yeah.
That's what you heard?
It ain't what I heard, it's what I know.
Do you think the feds are still working on charging other people in Memphis for stuff?
Related to this case?
Yeah.
There's nobody left to charge.
Yeah.
Nah, he went way further, tossing out claims that Yo Gotti's brother, Big Jook, was being watched by the feds for Dolph's murder. Now stop and think, how in the world would Hernandez Govan even know that? That kind of information doesn't float around barbershops or street corners. That's not gossip, that's intel. That's the type of thing only people deep in the system would know, which leaves one question on everybody's mind. How does Govan know? And if he knows, then who told him?
All right.
It ain't nobody left to charge. I mean, who they gonna charge? I mean, it ain't nobody to charge.
What was your moments like sitting in that courtroom, waiting for that judge to read out your verdict of you being found guilty or not guilty? Walk us through that day, knowing that you might get sentenced, or you could be possibly sentenced for life.
See, this ain't about casual questioning. Cops might grill you, sure, but the feds don't just hand out details like we're investigating Big Jook. They guard that like gold. So if Govan said it with his chest, that means he either guessed real lucky or he's been in the mix feeding information himself. And that's exactly why the streets are whispering one word heavy right now: snitch. People are saying he cut a deal, maybe signed a proffer, maybe handed over names and details, because in that No Jumper interview, he wasn't talking like a man guessing. He was talking like a man who knows. That confidence wasn't random. It sounded like confirmation. And that's why the doubt keeps rising. How do you know for a fact? Did you flip? Did you hand over Jook to save yourself?
The night prior was rough. I had a couple negative people in my ear, you know, just like a couple of the homeboys. Man, ain't no way I'm walking in there tomorrow. Man, you crazy as hell.
Yeah.
You gonna walk back in there and let them folks say guilty and handcuff you? Man, you gotta make them do their job. And
What, they were telling you to go on the run?
yeah, the day before the verdict. As soon as they start deliberating.
Then there's the plea deal. Govan openly admitted he signed off on a 10-year bargain tied to Dolph's murder. But let's break that down. If you're standing tall, swearing innocence, screaming the case is fake, why would you ever sign 10 years of your life away? Think about it. His own lawyer was calling Cornelius Smith a liar, a junkie, saying Smith only pointed fingers to shave time off his own sentence. If that's your defense and you truly believe it, why fold? Why not fight until the last breath? Innocent men push for acquittal. They don't bow out.
I had a couple partners, you know, and they was like, man, man, you tougher than me, man. You're nuts, man. Like Paul Bunyan. Ain't no way I'm going there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this shit. They'll have another news story. Quit on the run.
Because mind you, you're out, for the people who don't know, you're out on bond at this time.
Yeah, I'm out on bond.
And it was like a $90,000 bond?
$90,000 bond, yeah. Right. And so, you know, I ended up talking to my brother, and
But Govan signed that paper anyway, and in the eyes of the streets, That move screams involvement. It looks like a man caught between two worlds, 1 foot in freedom, 1 foot still stuck in the case. And people can't stop asking what really went down. And the red flags don't stop there. Another one came straight out of Govan's own mouth. He admitted his homies told him not to even show up to court before the verdict dropped. They said, "Don't show up, bro. Skip out, let the police chase you. It's looking too ugly for you. Now let that sink in. These weren't random voices in the street. This was his circle, the people who know him best. If they were telling him to run, it means they believed deep down he was guilty and the jury was about to send him away for life." And what does Govan do? He hops on a massive platform and announces to the world that his own crew told him he was cooked.
And I just decided to, man, just go on in there, and
So running was an option for a little bit.
nah, I wasn't gonna say it was an option. It was funny.
Yeah.
I was listening to my partner them call me, what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Man, I ain't ran in all this time, I ain't finished, what I'm saying, But you think about the what ifs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, And but with that being said, just going through, I mean, if you go back to the first day of jury selection when I signed the deal for the 10 years.
That's not just reckless, that's pure self-destruction. Instead of counting his blessings and moving in silence after catching a miracle verdict, Govan reinvented himself as an internet personality. He's on lives wearing ski masks, threatening bloggers, throwing wild shots at everybody, basically clowning himself in public. And let's not forget, this man is 50 years old. He didn't just beat any case, he beat a murder case, the type that could have taken his whole life away forever. Any sensible man would disappear, change counties, maybe even switch up his name and live quiet. But Govan did the total opposite.
And
Dolph family rejected it.
Yeah. They rejected it, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to sign the deal for the 10 years, But it's like my attorney Manny, he got a lawyer friend from Memphis named Leslie Ballin, and Leslie worked on a case with him before. Might have been with Pac-Man Jones or somebody, but he came in the room and he was like, "Govan, you ever been to my office?" And I said, "Nah, Leslie, I ain't never been to your office." And he said, "Well, I got a pair of dice on my table." And he said, "Sometimes me and my colleagues, we play dice."
He went chasing clout, showing off toughness online, and all he really did was stack more enemies. Sure, interviews bring a little bag, but is that bag worth risking freedom? Not at all. Every live stream, every threat, every boast is putting him right back in the line of fire he barely escaped. And here's the strangest part. He seems ready to incriminate everybody but Yo Gotti. Notice that pattern? When the conversation turns to other names, he's got details, stories, and timelines. But when Gotti's name comes up, suddenly he's blank, like the memory button just shuts off. He even said he only knew Big Jook through marriage, but claimed he never knew Gotti personally. Really? That's Gotti's brother, his right-hand man. You're telling me you never crossed paths, never heard anything? That story doesn't sit right. It feels like he's protecting Gotti while letting everybody else take the fall.
And sometimes we'll gamble a little bit, not nothing major. He said, "But when we do gamble, one thing that I don't gamble?" I said, "What's that, Mr. Ballin?" He said, "Nothing that I can't afford to lose." He said, "Govan, you got a son, 2 sons that love you to death. You can't afford to lose your life."
That's why people are starting to believe maybe he's on payroll, running interference, doing PR cleanup while the smoke clears. Honestly, no jumper dropped the ball. And that when he said, "Ain't nobody else to charge," the next question should have been, "What about Yo Gotti?" Watching his face in that moment could have cracked the whole act wide open. And let's not forget what he himself said. The feds were on Big Jook. That's not local cops, that's federal heat. Big Jook wasn't just a background figure, he co-owned CMG. If the feds were watching him, logic says they might have had eyes on Gotti too. And if Jook's situation ever flips into a federal case while Govan's charges stayed at the state level,
take the 10 years. And so when he said that, just me being in the streets, it made sense to me. You know, why play with my life? Why, you know, risk everything? If I can't do 3.5, 4 more years, then I should have been a deacon.
That starts sounding real familiar. Rico vibes all over again. And if it ever goes in that direction, this story could spiral into something way deeper, shaking up not just Memphis, but the whole industry. Even Govan's own lawyers told him straight up and take the 10-year plea. They warned him, it's too risky. We can't let you face life. Take the deal. But Dolph's family wasn't having it at all. They stood firm, saying he deserved more time, not less. To them, 10 years was an insult compared to the life that was taken. They were ready to roll the dice and push it all the way to trial rather than sit back and watch him walk free in a decade. And here's the wild twist. And after all that, he didn't get 10, he didn't get 20. He walked away completely free.
To me, I was kind of surprised when I first heard you say that in the Vlad interview, just because from my perspective, it's like, if you really didn't do it and you really don't feel like they have any really truly convincing information that they're going to bring to the table, I don't know. I mean, I understand like wanting to eliminate the chance of doing like a really extremely long sentence or getting, you know, many decades, but shit, I don't know. It's just so hard for me to imagine pleading guilty for something that I didn't do.
And this is where the blame shifts heavy onto the prosecution. They aim too high, chasing headlines instead of sticking to what they could prove. They painted Govan as the mastermind, the puppet master, pulling every string behind the scenes. But let's be real, Govan never came off like the brains of the operation. He looked more like a middleman. Somebody carrying messages, arranging shooters, putting little pieces in place, hoping to climb closer to Big Jook's inner circle. He wasn't running an empire. He was trying to impress one. The state overplayed their hand big time. They claimed he organized the shooters, lined up the money, and coordinated the whole hit from start to finish. But when it came time to show proof, the story had too many cracks. The jury saw exaggerations, they saw missing pieces, and that opened the door for reasonable doubt. And once doubt creeps in, the law forces an acquittal. But let's not twist it.
See, you know, I was looking at it from, you know, the big picture, you know, with all the media coverage, negative media coverage, everybody saying I'm the mastermind. I felt like it was gonna be hard for any normal person to put that to the back of their mind and say, let me give my verdict based off of what's in front of me.
Being acquitted doesn't equal innocence. It just means the state couldn't back up the story they were selling. And now, instead of sitting in a cell, Hernandez Govan is free to run his mouth while Dolph's family is left staring at an empty chair that can never be filled. Now let's be real. The only reason Hernandez Govan even thought about that 10-year deal is because deep down, he knew he had some level of involvement.
So that was one of my biggest fears and one of the main reasons why I decided to sign for the 10 years. Because I just thought that the media coverage had like a major negative effect.
In his mind, he probably thought, 10 years ain't bad, I'll serve 4, I'll be back out moving around. But Dolph's family wasn't trying to hear that. They wanted real accountability, not a shortcut. To them, 4 years for Dolph's life was nothing but disrespect. And now, looking at how Govan has carried himself since walking out free, the only advice left to give him is simple. Stop talking. Stop posting. Log off. Because every single time he jumps online, he drops another piece of ammo for investigators to pick apart. Think about it. He's the one who said the feds were investigating Big Jook. If that statement holds weight, then the natural next question is this. If they're watching Jook, are they also keeping tabs on Yo Gotti, murder for hire, money trails, whispers about CMG covering legal fees? None of that is small-time business. Those are federal level questions, the kind that can turn into RICO conversations real fast. And if the feds are really digging that deep, then Govan's mouth might have already opened doors he can't close back. So here's the $1 million question. Do the feds got their eyes on Yo Gotti, Or is Hernandez Govan just capping for attention, playing the victim in public while secretly doing PR for CMG behind the scenes? Because no matter how he spins it, the streets remember one truth. At the root of this whole tragedy, it's always been Gotti versus Dolph. That beef didn't just simmer, it exploded. And whether people want to admit it or not, that war is the reason we lost Dolph, a Memphis legend taken way too soon. So now it's on you. What do you believe? Is Gotti really under federal investigation, or is Govan just stirring the pot to stay relevant? One thing's guaranteed. Every time Govan speaks, the story gets crazier, the questions get louder, and the truth gets harder to ignore. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.